Thank you, Shetty Monaga. There are books available here that she brought that are not here with the bookstore. The open mic sheet, is that it's here? Anyone who came in later like to sign the open mic? Over here, Evan. Well, it's a real honor to have the two women we have reading tonight, donating their time and effort here. I've been wanting to get these two women together for several years now. Sharon Doubiago is also, besides a very fine poet, started out as a poet, she is also an essayist as well. She claims the West Coast, up and down from near Los Angeles, where she grew up, living and working all the way down in South America and all the way up close to the border up north. Sharon Doubiago is the author of many books of poetry, about 5 or 6 books of poetry, including a long book-length poem that was very influential to me, coming of age as a poet here in the Bay Area. Mi Hija, Mi South America, as well as she has a new, fairly new collection of selected love poems called Love in the Streets. Anyway, Sharon Doubiago is here with us, and be very thank you.
I'm very honored. I think this is a very exciting new series, and I hope you all keep coming every, what is it, the
First Wednesday
first Wednesday
of every month.
And I too, I'm going to read a few poems, and then I'm going to end with a couple of pages of prose from my memoir. I too started out with Audrey and Rich, and I feel very disturbed, and I feel the loss of her. She was I had never quite said that before, but she's probably the most important poet for me ever. I started reading her about a year before I became a poet. And this poem is like, I have 2 book-length poems. Hard Country was the first one, and then South America, Mi Hija, which, this is Mi Hija right there. And this is, when she was 15, we went by bus to Machu Picchu from Mendocino. And that's what it is. It's an account of it. I'll read one poem if I have time. But I was diving in the wreck, just, it made me a poet. And it made me a feminist. And I had a son, and for all the reasons, I had boyfriends. And I didn't become a lesbian, but I lived in the midst of a lesbian community, Albion, California, and was very informed and very empowered by that experience. So this is pretty much the first poem. There's like 2 or 3 of the first poems that I wrote that began this long book called Hard Country, a book-length poem, and it's called Love Song for a Man Whose Mother Killed Herself. And even now, it's a little bit too derivative, I think, of Adrian's diving into the wreck. But I've never been able to change it, so here it is. Your open mouth like the ocean, where you allow me swimming. Beneath all things, the Bible says, are the waters. But men don't open this way. They are the ships headed for some horizon, the rescuers. Dragging the lake for days for her body, you said. You have opened yourself so wide. You are the water your mother drowned in. She lies at the bottom of you, the dark, deep water that covers you. I see her face, sleeping with open eyes, looking toward the sun. I am wanting the secret of this watery garden, the secret the leaves hide and the wind call it the world, the secret she would not live without. It is deep going between here and the new country. In the night we are seen wading back to the shore. Voices call for us. I emerge over your body to see the earth in light. You have opened to me. You are the first man who has ever opened to me. Somehow you have made yourself the man she would not live without. So, so that book becomes a travel to that lake where she drowned herself, where it sort of climaxes. And I also picked out for this reading a lot of mother poems, which seemed appropriate, and most of them are new. But this one was also was from then, and it's him also, and it's called, and it's my most republished poem. It shows up on Mother's Day cards. My mother is a poem I will never write. He couldn't wait to meet my mother. He kept saying, you'll never know who your woman is until you meet her mother. He said it so often, he angered me, he, a safe orphan with his mother, self-drowned. But I think he must see me as she is walking in this light, down from her home to meet us, an orphan herself, but as clear as anything on this Oregon coast. Even I can feel myself as she comes, carried in that wide house between her hips. My mother is a poem I'll never be able to write, though everything I write is a poem to my mother, of whom he said as we were leaving, and your mother, oh, your mother, deep, deep waters, deep. And I thought I would read this. This is from South America Mija, but it's cut in here, so I'll read it from here. This is from my memoir, volume 2. Let's see, it's page 62, and it's about my mother and my daughter.
I can help you out.
I can hold.
Oh. Okay, you can hold that one. It's page 62. I don't know, I'll lose my place if I have someone help me. Here it is. And so this is a little memoir prose account of that journey Sean and I made. And this is what I pulled out of it as being the most important poem, and about what this book is about, this memoir. And there's a little paragraph. To this day, of all the experiences that epitomizes that journey for me, it is the one of descending the coast of Peru and repeatedly seeing my 15-year-old daughter across the aisle from me as my mother. The bus was so crowded with local Indians who couldn't find 2 seats together. And this is the poem. Quince, of course, is 15. Sometimes I look at you across the bus, Mama. How surprising to see her here. Once upon a time, there was a lost little girl. The first line of all your stories as a girl. I couldn't understand you were in my arms in the house I made for you. The mothers of daughters are daughters of mothers, in circles, joined in circles since time began. I've never been able to see my mother. I've never been able to see you, daughter. I met your father when I was 15. My mother's father died when she was 15. When she was 15, my mother ran away from the orphanage. Why do mothers betray their daughters? I had begun to ask this. How can they? If I open to you, I'll open to my mother. I'll open to myself. If I open to you, I'll open to anger against myself, against my mother. My love for my mother, my mother's love for me has been the only love. My mother was an orphan, a girl when I was born. Her love for me was for the girl who died when she was born. I go deaf to protect the little girl inside. I go blind to protect my mother, who has given body and soul, the world, all the days of her life. Once upon a time, there was a lost little girl, the first line of all your stories as a girl. That was the first line of all my sister's stories as a girl, too. Some of that was prose and some of that was poem. Okay, I'll read. you mother poems. My mother also died, and it's been 14 years, and I'm still grieving her. It's been a stunning experience. So I really appreciated Sherry's This is my mother's mirror, and it has a quote from Doubiago. Verily I say unto you that life is in the mirror, and that you are the original death. My mother loved mirrors. My mother wasn't vain. Mirrors, mirror light, and open up walled rooms to all of nature outside. Her claustrophobia opened up her mother's tomb. But probably, too, my mother watched herself, the orphan, from all angles, so as to know herself in the eyes of others, to adjust herself to the world in the eyes of all nature, her mother out there. I have 3 mirrors in my new room, but I can't see what I look like with her gone. She was my mirror. She had the camera. She took my pictures. To look again is the meaning of respect. I suspect I too suffer a degree of her need, the mirror opposite of vanity. To mortality, August 17, 1998. When you take the mirror off the wall, leaving the hole in the little blue house along the road she died in 3 days ago, when once again you are moving, you remember it on the wall over your crib. Walk the gold curlicue antique frame, the shining silver plate outside to the U-Haul. The ocean is lit in such light and motion. All the years come back. Her face, all her faces, now yours. Every time you move, even this move, you deny again her knowing what you know, not saying anything, mother. Who would deny you knowing what you know, not saying anything? There's 2 more. This 3rd one is after Mahmoud Darwish's in my mother's house. In your house, Mama, my photo stared at me and didn't cease asking, are you, dear child, me? Were you once 20 of my years, and did she display me caught in her flowers and cacti only when I came to prove her love, to drive my father jealous? My bloody pajamas under the house, foundation of our line all the way back. Are you, me? Listen, you, I am she, yes, and he, but I jumped out from under the house to see what couldn't be seen, to measure the depth of the abyss. I married you, Mama. And the last one is called Night. Sun lifting from the mountain and lying down on the ocean horizon, sun of memory, but your face is gone. Just the eyes of all nature, your mother out there. When I asked you to take my picture, I was begging you, Mama, look at me. Now every day I grind away in your mirror, my face carving roads as I sleep here on this new one. Mountains, states, my face of graves from the roots, coming ever more into the blood, the river pounding through, ever more into the body of earth. Mother, the mirage you saw is no longer your daughter, but your face in all 3 of my mirrors. Maybe I'll read. This is neither of these poems I've ever read before. So you know how that is. Maybe they don't work. My lover's mirror. Oh, it's one thing. Bris. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Anybody here know? B-R-I-S. It's circumcision from the Kabbalah. It's a ceremony where the 8-day-old baby is circumcised. Boy. So that's what that's a reference to. And I've written about circumcision since the 70s. I don't think any of it's been published though. And I was assured in the beginning, I used to be a little bit afraid that I was somehow would come off as anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, and I got told several times very strongly and thoroughly Jewish men that I wasn't being and to go for it. So I've been going for it. It's called My Lover's Mirror. And this is true. It is the first. There was a popular, maybe it's in this bookstore, book on the Kabbalah from like the 70s, and it's the first page tells this. I don't, that was just somebody's version of it, but it was the most popular and acclaimed version of the Kabbalah. My lover's mirrors. When you touch me, I know you are touching a picture inside, not even a picture of me in there. Shield between us as shining as my dead mother's mirror. In the beginning, I had no images. Years into our love, never a fantasy, not a picture, not ever, not seeing you. Pure body, pure self, deep welling. But finally, for love of you, I let yours develop, to let myself go with you into them. Of course, my poet instructs, a man's images, fantasies, is his superiority. His evolution from the woman remains in the body. This is the reason for the bris, the Kabbalah instructs, to send the 8-day-old male in pain and betrayal up into the mind, away from the body, away from her, in order to create and abstract the alphabet. My stalker, surprised that I'm here, says it has to be you, no mistaking you from the back. My 8 years long, 3 states homeless stalker cites his sighting 3 weeks ago in the driven rain on Grant. His plastic-covered bush down Telegraph Hill, his instructions to where I must find his buried writing, no mistaking our pain and betrayal, retardation onto evil, our brink of extinction. I'm in the middle of my life before I touch myself in loss of you and find you in the blood flow, ravines to the rims, pure self-welling, the real thing, love, this earth, this time, seeing you. I wanted to read this for Sherry. Is it Sherry or Cherry?
Sherry.
Sherry. Okay. It is page 63. I just chose this a little poem because she too is from Los Angeles. It's called Los Angeles River, I Love You. And it has a little quote from Genesis 1:2, and darkness was on the face of the deep. I grew up in Southgate. You Whittier? Is that right?
No.
That's what was a Google said.
That's what I was born in your house when I grew up in San Diego.
In San Diego.
It's a black story.
And I went to Cal State, LA. I mean, it's taken me all out my life to say this. You know how they ridicule us for being from LA. Los Angeles River, I love you, and they ridicule the LA River. But there's been great work, in the past 20 years by poets to reclaim that river. And it was a very powerful entity when I was growing up. My grade school, Hollydale Grade School, was right on the river, and which, in all of its many states. My head on the sand looking up to sky was earth, was me, behind or under or inside the earth, exactly me, looking up, dry, but flash floods to come. Who I am, shell on the curve of the horizon glowing sand, gull behind the wave, struggling to come in, my eyes, the fish flashing, my hair, the clouds flooding. I saw the stars, oh, it was day, even when you're dry, LA, you are here. And maybe I'll read Migrant, just like you too. I have a number of migrant poems, but this is not got into this manuscript. You come across, find refuge in our mall. A baby migrates beneath your poncho, propped against the supermarket wall. Waves of pain, a border so sacred its name is illegal. Your breasts surging milk through sage, trees and rocks, mountains of sand across the river, ocean of incarnation, migrating. All colors of flesh, a song, tongue of tit, babble, sovereignty, but manifest destiny, the border, hate. You come across the ice, stretching the string of white wampum beads, Wapakig, all the way east, ocean to ocean, for messages to be sent back and forth through the land, the map. As you move toward the rising sun, as you move toward the light to find the way back. You come across in boats, land on the shore. You name Wainimi, walk east, then south to Land's End, Terra del Fuego, then north, back up the east side, then back across west, blazing a trail of four corners, holy intersection of equinoxes and solstices, measure of time, movement in space, cosmic claim. But the Wapakig breaks. Now we are inside someone who hates us. Look out through his eyes, slits in the metal for sun, without shadow, voice, or meaning. Someone inside loves us. Let him out. Let her cross. Let us free. Let our tribe go. And I read, how much more time do I have? One or two more, and then I want to read a little bit.
10, 15 minutes?
Huh?
10, 15 minutes?
Okay. I wanted to write this poem all of my life. I finally did it. Being at the Cliff House with a glass of wine. And I, because I'm a free verse, California hippie girl, poet, all of it, the junk you run into with a lot of other different-minded poets. And I've always wanted to say that my poetics comes from the ocean. I'm having lived on it all of my life. I was born in Seaside Hospital, Long Beach. Pacific Ocean breaks my poetics. They come in from every direction, no knowing which way they'll turn, break, so wild, foamy in excess, their beauty even before they crash, so monstrously huge, their lust, their light. Upon the sand, upon each other, breathtaking. From where on earth did this come? Sometimes disappointing, piddly, you turn away, but they don't stop, wave on wave plowing in, so conflicting, their path, so contrary, the silver silk shore, going south now, head ripped off, flying behind, the next tunnel to immense, a girl drowning in the riptide. Nothing makes her feel more at home now, seeing them coming. Nothing makes her more the poet than those long silver lines coming in and going back, exploding their own order, all civil orders, the churning, mud gold blue of the terrorist, undertow in front, slanting off the opposite way, the one behind colliding. They never stop. Oh fuck, here comes another too many. They don't sum up the light riding the universe, the bioluminescences of autumn, the girl's neon body, face down in the sand, gasping air, pound and roar, ever-changing rhythm, moan of earth, turning over on the turning globe to the blinding sun, eye, star surf of heaven, her son and daughter inside, surfing to shore. My memoir, it's in 2 volumes, it's called My Father's Love, and yes, it is about the unpleasant subject of incest. It's a lot more than that, and it's the most incredible writing experience of my life, and everything has changed since I wrote it. I had, the day before I was raped, I was 7, and I met Gay, that was her name, G-A-E, and she was 6. And she saved my sanity as much as anybody and anything. And so the book, for years I wanted to write my gay story, and then I would realize, no, I can't write that until I can write my father's story. And so that's sort of, so this is on meeting her, and so again, I'm 7, and this is Hollydale, Southgate, California. And my mother, she gets tuberculosis. I was struck by that about Audrey and Rich. Her father was the authority on tuberculosis. One evening just before Mama left for the TB sanitarium, she cut a photo and article from the Huntington Park paper. The next day I stood in front of my second grade class for sharing, holding up the news photo and article, Southgate Hero, a blonde policeman holding a man down with his foot, a gun to his head. Mr. Merrill Wayne Walker, almost killed in a shootout, was awarded for bravery and action beyond the call of duty. He's the father of the new family, I told my class, that's moving in across the street from us on Roosevelt Avenue. She appears in the fog. The word gay means, the oldest meaning of it is a place in the river one has to swim to cross. She appears in the fog across the new plugs of dichondra. We stare at each other, the silver glass wall shimmering behind her, the rim of the white roof sparkling in the fog above her, fog in her beige hair, fog coming from beneath her eyes. I'll always see this, the fog there, steam in the grooves of her eyes. Bridget, my sister, and the little girl start chasing each other, giggling, but the big girl and I just stare across the foggy yard into each other like we're hypnotized. She'll always say she thought I was an Okie with my rag curls like a pickaninny, a little Negro girl. I feel the stupid rags of old bed sheets around my head. I feel the boxy Buster Browns encasing my feet. I feel the weight of everything, the fog stopping my shoulders to hide my breasts. What kind of freak am I that I have breasts at 7? But I'm looking at beauty, perfection and mystery, her face with fog across it, her face so taut, drawn and sad, yet like a river, a churning flow the color of milky fog. I can't talk. She will say I talk like a hillbilly. I will love her for being bold and honest. Across the lawn, through the watery air, the strangeness of her eyes connects with something deep inside me, a strangeness I will never let go of, a spell I'm still under. My heart breaks for love of this first sight of her, for gratitude that she exists. There's a river across her face, a river between us, a river to cross. I will be crossing the river forever. I love her. 2 black and brown big skinny dogs are barking their heads off from the back corners of the house. They're Doberman pinschers, she says, police dogs. They're not pets, they're trained to kill. And this is after the rape the next day. And I go to school, and I had a heart attack. My sister did too in the same room. We had heart attacks that night. But I got to school, and I'm stuttering, and I have hiccups, and I have hiccups for several years, chronic hiccups. Now I'm on the cot in the nurse's office, sweating, smelling just like the monster, blood and sweat and poop, that smell I first smelled when I was born. I have to get home somehow and get clean panties and another Kotex. Take a nap, she says. Thank you, dear Jesus. If they can't find Daddy, thank you for providing this safe haven to sleep. The bell rings. That new girl is at the door of the nurse's office, standing there in the hallway, all the kids streaming by. I can walk her home. I live on Roosevelt too, the same block. She lives at 5903 Roosevelt. I live at 5920. Oh yes, I assure the nurse, I can make it. I feel just fine, thank you. In the bathroom, I stuff my dripping Tuesday panties with more tissue. My heart hurts to breathe, my legs are broken off from my hips. What's wrong with you? I'm just tired. I heard your mother has tuberculosis. She walks me past her house. She walks me up the porch of mine. Thank you. Let's get that one. But I know that I want to mail it. My mother says it's okay for you to come in. It's hard to approach her house, to go up the white cement driveway. The 2 Doberman police dogs, Adolf and Goebbels, in a chain link behind the backyard, have barking fits. If they get loose, they will kill you. She holds the door open. The fog in her eyes pulls me in. There's a river across the center of her face. First thing, she teaches me to play the Marine anthem on the triangular-shaped piano standing in the bay window. It is upholstered, the entire thing, even the legs, in white leather. Just remember middle C. From the halls of Montezuma, her dark fingers on the keys, to the shores of Tripoli, her short tan fingers on top of my big whites, guiding them. her feet under mine, guiding them to the pedals. What are the halls of Montezuma? This is like Karen teaching me how to play the pedal slide steel guitar until her mother put a stop to that. A wooden triangle with a hand tick-tocks on top of the white piano. It's a metronome, she says. You play it in time to it. And a photograph of her father, framed in white leather too, with his, when he was a sailor in the war. Mr. Walker, blonde curls spilling out from his white cap, is so handsome and grinning so big, he looks like a movie star. Blue boy is on one side wall and pink girl is on the other. The Greeks saw the horse as an ocean wave, she says, pointing to a painting of horses in the ocean waves. Horse is, in Greek, means wave. And there's another in the bathroom of Palominos, just their gold heads, their white manes blowing through clouds. The shower curtain is see-through glass with a big swan at the bottom. Returning down the hallway, I spy through the cracked door at the end a round bed in an all-white room, and in the round mirror over the white boudoir, a naked blonde woman lying on the floor. She has little beads of perspiration all over her brown body under a bright orange lamp. A high wild bush of black hair with her thighs join her hips is how I know her white hair is bleached. Don't worry about it, Gay Walker slams her hands down through the hallway air. My mother lies under the sun lamp naked all day to keep her tan. My father makes her do it. She looks fat when she's not tan. Her name is Dorothy. Dottie, her 3-year-old sister, is named for her. Mama makes a big deal about my being a natural blonde. Don't ever bleach your hair. You'll be a dime a dozen then. Mrs. Walker is only 23. My parents were both 16 when I was born. My father's 23 too. My mother was 21. She waited 3 years to have me, to make the perfect child. But now she's 29. 29 is so old. Even as a little girl, Mama knew she'd be dead now for a year. I can't take my eyes off this girl as she leads the way back outside. We navigate through the men in the bushes, over their broken liquor bottles, shards of glistening green and golden brown. She curses them. This takes my breath away. Love thy neighbor as thyself. I just pray to love them enough. I can get past the danger of them, but that she knows about them in the way I do is an incredible relief. A couple more passages. They are from San Francisco. This is true. I couldn't wait to write. I read the whole book just to say this. This is coming down the street into her, to visit her to her house. And the neighbor, Mrs. Ritchie, says, "They're from San Francisco. Does that tell you something?" Mrs. Ritchie is saying to Mrs. Pullman on the sidewalk as I skip by. Even though it was World War II, he got kicked out of the Navy. Something not right there, a queer, I bet. Oh, Gay says, it's just that my father was discharged from the Navy for being borderline insane. My parents are founding members of the Sexual Freedom League. My parents are proud they're not members of nothing. They worship the sun. They aren't ashamed of the body. They're naturalists. My father sleeps in the nude. He's not ashamed. It's his religion. Why do you stutter? I'm sorry. Why do you hiccup all the time? I'm trying not to. I'm going to read one. Let me find it, and then I'll end. Gay is to me like Aaron is to Moses, and he shall be to thee instead of a mouth. I love her so much, she's more real than I am. I am her Mary Jane ragdoll, her negative, her mirror. I feel myself from within, but I see and therefore know her from without. She's more beautiful than anything on earth. The gold beige clouds that are really God move across her face, move in her hair like a movie, like a storm coming up. We meet in our meeting spot at sundown at the top of the Denny Clare hole. For the place where thou standest is holy ground. I was a Bible scholar in the 2nd grade. I won everything. The whole county, Los Angeles. I was trying to survive. We meet on our meeting spot at sundown on top of the Denny Clare hole. For the place where thou standest is holy ground. The burning bush is not burnt, the Lord said to Moses. The burning bush that is not burnt, the Lord said to Moses. Moses is boy from Moselle, which is my aunt's name. Gay is a head shorter than me, but her face is God's, a face unbelievable to look into. I love you. I love you, she says back. I brought the razor blade from Daddy's shaving kit. 1, 2, 3. We slice into the blue veins on our left wrists. The blue blood instantly bubbles up red. We mash our wrists together, rub them hard together. The stinging stops. We are ecstatically in each other's eyes. Your blood into me, my blood into you. We say this to each other, unto each other truly. Now we are blood sisters forever. Okay.